Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, to Nia, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Angela Reynolds, Greg Gorley, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, and Ben and Noel Bruning, B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, Daps Magic, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs standing in front of New Fantasyland. In the background you can see the top of the Snow White attraction, and to the right you can see the entrance to the Pinocchio attraction. If you look closely, there's even a brown Fantasyland garbage can. On the back it reads, "Welcome to Fantasyland. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are always on hand to greet the young and the young at heart in the happiest land of all, Fantasyland." It's postmarked January 13th, 1985, with an Orco EXPO 85 Anaheim, California station pictorial cancel that includes the Sleeping Beauty Castle and the phrase, "Honoring 30 years of Disneyland magic," and a 13-cent Olympics discus postage stamp, Scott number 2048. I assume they visit the park on Sunday, January 13th, 1985, when park hours were from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The weather was a high of 74 and a low of 46. It's not addressed. It reads, it's blank on the message side as well. This is likely from a collector who wanted the pictorial cancel or the postage stamp. Since this episode is being posted the day after Disneyland's 71st anniversary and the 5-year anniversary of this podcast hitting 100 episodes, and the Postal Service recently celebrating 250 years, I thought it'd be a good time to answer a question I get often. It's also a highly debated and mysterious Disneyland urban legend. The question is, was there ever an official Disneyland postmark, cancel, or cachet? Let's start with some definitions. A postmark is a formal postal marking applied to an envelope that shows the city, state, and date. This mark would happen at a local post office or now at the first major distribution center where the piece of mail is processed. A recent example of the new system is when I sent a postcard from Ashland, Oregon, 16 miles from the border of Oregon and California. That postcard was sent to Portland for processing, Portland being 10 miles from the border of Oregon with Washington, and 286 miles away from Ashland. The cancel or cancellation is in reference to the ink placed over the stamps canceling out their validity after use. This could be straight or wavy lines, reaching around 2 inches, marring the stamp. This function also happens with a pen when post office might strike the stamp individually or as a group with a ballpoint pen or a Sharpie, showing that the stamps are canceled. This is also known as pen canceled and is an unwelcome activity in the philatelist community. The last thing to define is cachet, which is either pictorial or text-based or both. An example of a text cachet would be the mid to late 60s cachet with the phrase, "Always use a zip code." Pictorial cachets are usually seen when new stamps are issued or around holidays. The most recent example is the stars around the number 250 for the United States sesquicentennial. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to EnfieldPost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and EnfieldPost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has Mickey Mouse leading the Disneyland Band down Main Street. On the left you can see the clock shop and the Sunkiss house, and in the back you can see Sleeping Beauty Castle. On the back it reads, Leader of the Band. Mickey Mouse takes over from the drum major to lead the Disneyland Band in a Main Street concert. The band plays music from waltzes to marches. It's postmarked July 17, 1985, with an Anaheim main office 92803 cancel, and 2 4-cent Stagecoach 1890s postage stamps, and a 6-cent Walt Disney postage, which has been ripped off, Scott numbers 1898A and 1355 respectively. I assume they visit the park on Wednesday, July 17th, Disneyland's official 30-year birthday party, when park hours were from 12:01 a.m. to midnight. The weather was a high of 83 and a low of 67. It's not addressed and likely part of a collection like the previous postcard. It reads, Disneyland 30th Year. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts which have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world. Walt Disney on opening day, Disneyland, July 17, 1955. Now that we have the definitions down, let's talk about some postmarks, cancels, and cachets that I have in my collection. From Disneyland, I have a few that I've talked about in episode 119, Sent to Texas. These were based on the Pigskin Classic from the late 80s and early 90s. Next would be the 2 on the postcards used for this episode from 1985, one for Disneyland's 30th anniversary starting in January of 85, and the one from this postcard with the date July 17, 1985. I have 2 special postmarks from Sacramento, one from December 8, 2001, marking the 100th birthday of Walt Disney, with 2 postage stamps, a 6-cent Walt Disney postage stamp from 1968, Scott number 1355, and the 1998 postage stamp with Snow White, Scott number 3185H. At the time, these were the only 2 Disney-related postage stamps released by the USPS. I also have a few postmarks and cachets from the 2007 release of The Art of Disney Magic postage stamps from Orlando. Finally, I have one more postmark that I will be using on a future episode from October of 1987 for the new holiday stamps issued from Holiday, California. Looking at some of the zip codes, one stood out as unique. 92803 is Disneyland's official zip code. Zip code maps do not include this number as it is assigned to a specific location, similar to the IRS, which also has a unique zip code. Looking through all my postcards sent after the Zone Improvement Plan, ZIP, was implemented, most cancels only have the city and the first 3 digits of the zip code, the first digit representing the group of U.S. states, and the second and third digits combining to represent a region in that group. Most of them have Anaheim as a city, unless they were mailed from out of the area. The 92803 zip code is seldom used. Some examples have included the postcard in this episode, the 2017 D23 convention when the Disney villain stamps were released, and for the Art of Disney stamps for the Friendship and Imagination series. Even looking at the printed stamp from an incoming postcard from the Dear Pen Pal podcast mailed a few weeks ago from the parks, it includes the zip code of 95802 printed. So this episode is a long way to go to answer the question, did Disneyland have a postmark? 3 statements of fact that I know and have researched. 1. Disneyland has a unique zip code they could use if they had a functioning post office on site to postmark outgoing mail. 2. Disneyland has used special pictorial cachets and postmarks over the years. 3. To my knowledge, research, and my collection of Disneyland postcards, Disneyland has never consistently postmarked mail as Disneyland, California. I will continue to research and build my collection to see if there ever was a time. I also hope that someday we see an expansion of the zip code 92803 to include an official post office that will have an official postmark. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has drawings of artifacts from Trader Sam's, including a ship in a bottle, a lifesaver, a ship's wheel, some tiki mugs, an anchor, a banjo, and 3 postcards. On the back it reads, Original artwork of Tiki Mugs of Disney by artist Dave Perillo. It's postmarked June 24th, 2026, with a Santa Ana Freedom 250 pictorial cancel and a Go Beyond Buzz Lightyear Forever postage stamp, Scott number 5711. It reads, I hope you like this postcard, Kayla. Thank you so much for the postcard, Kayla. I love this postcard. I just don't know where to put it. It will look great as decoration for my tiki bar, but I also have an album I've been using to organize my incoming postcards from friends and post-crossing. It would fit in there as well. I wanted this episode to have a happier ending. I know that Disneyland does offer a small rubber stamp with Disneyland Resort that guests are able to use on outgoing mail. I know that guests want there to have been a time when Disneyland outgoing mail would have a Disneyland postmark on them. I am hopeful that one day we might have that. It was also fun to learn the places that have unique to the building or person zip codes, like the IRS, the White House, the FBI, the Pentagon, the J.W. Westcott II mailboat in Detroit, Operation Santa, and Smokey the Bear. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at sentfromdisneyland or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell. Theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.